Everyone, and welcome to To Be Diced Adventures. I am your GM for tonight of Frontiers of Eberron, Michael St. Gregory, and we have another exciting adventure for you along the plains beyond the Endworld Mountains, beneath the dry desert sun of the Talenta Plains. A story which will be unique in my first time trying to tell it, but I think it's time to ride. Brother Mason stands before the congregation. A wooden casket in front of him. A town full of mourners, all sitting in one small chapel. He clears his throat, adjusts his vestments, looking dignified and responsible for his leadership role as a town. Dearly beloved of the town of Wyrmwatch, we are gathered here today to mourn the loss of our sheriff, Copper Brass, who just a few days ago was unfortunately found by his deputies to have no longer be showing any signs of life. Many of which are here today paying their respects as well. We do not know necessarily the full extent. These are matters being investigated by our neighborhood watch, the sheriff's trusted cohorts and citizens of this town. But we are not here to speculate on matters that are beyond our understanding. No. Today we are here to gather and pay our respects. From here we are going to actually flash back to the moment just after you were heard being yelled at by Malcolm coming back into town. Silas and Ivara, Edgar as well being in the main presence. But, Doc Davenport, you also heard the bell being rung. A bell that is only rung during dangerous times, as the Warforged Malcolm is screaming at the top of his synthetic lungs. Please, come help, please. Sheriff Brass, he's dead. And he leads you, the four of you who are willing to come to the sheriff's office, while others maintain crowd control. And as you enter, you do see the seemingly lifeless body of Sheriff Brass on the floor in the back of the office near the jail cells. What would you like to do?
Doc would like to quickly run over to the body, and as he gets there, he gets down on his knees and immediately starts trying to check for a pulse. Come on now. Come on,
so
give,
as
give me something.
As automatons don't necessarily have any particular type. What you would be educated in knowing is looking at its glyph on their heads, as that is usually essentially the sign of life. Give me a medicine check.
Okay.
I would say with advantage as well, because you are in fact a practicing doctor.
As I'd like many to believe. Alright, give me a second. Okay. 22.
Instinctively, you do go to check for what normally would be a pulse, but you remember this is a Warforged, this is an automaton. They have a specific type of way, and you remove a panel from the top of its forehead to see the glowing glyph, or at least what would be. It is incredibly dimly lit, as if to show it's on, just barely hanging on to signs of life.
I don't know if we have much time. He's got barely anything left in him. I don't know if I have enough to work with.
Malcolm is beside himself. I thought I came in. I panicked. I just assumed the worst. He wouldn't respond. I was not sure what to do.
Have you ever seen anything like this? I don't really work on Warforged. I work on, flesh and blood folk.
I wish I could. I was built to maintain organic life.
God damn it. Can I make a history check to see if I can remember anything about maybe jump starting?
Edgar is just gonna run up and try to cast Spare the Dying.
Okay. Also, do you mind moving your camera up a little so your mouth isn't completely covered by the lower third? There we go.
I got a 14 for history.
Okay. So you know that at least by the bare bones of it, that if anything, this is a deep stasis, one that is equivalent to what an organic person would go through as a coma.
Get him up on the bed. There's not anything I can do with the materials I have back at the office. We just got to keep him comfortable until we figure out how to get him out of the stasis.
So you all lift together and get him onto a cot. And Malcolm is in hysterics at this point.
Doc is going to kind of motion for Malcolm to come with him off to the side while they get him on the cot, and he's going to say, "Did you see what happened, or did you just walk in?"
I walked in and I was about to just. I just realized we have 3 clerics playing at the same time today.
Where were the 3 clerics 5 minutes ago
clerics?
when Doc was still
Yeah, all the clerics conveniently not available when they were needed most.
Sorry, I'm late, guys. Continue.
Wait, here's the
Go
thing:
for it.
is Taylor's
Oh.
catchphrase.
I think I use it more
Copyright.
often than she does.
Yeah, there is a running like.
That's a to be
You are
diced
neck and neck.
catchphrase.
Yeah,
What?
two are absolutely neck and neck. So yeah, you bring his body to the cot, and it Malcolm is again just trying to recollect everything. It was just about a few hours after you had all whatever most of you were doing. I know that Mr. Hayden, Miss Armstrong, you were investigating the mines, and Miss Laura Vera, you were back at your place of business, and well, I don't know who you are, little one. As he looks at you, Edgar.
You just see him kind of like just get down a little bit and like step away.
Oh, were you the one in the barrel?
Yeah. Yep. That.
Yes. I'm sure that you and your explosive associates are quite professional.
If he's here, I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I do not want to be blown
No
up.
time. Last time I saw, he had trekked off into the desert to do more experiments, as he put it.
Good.
And I
Hear a
just
distant explosion.
yeah, in the back.
There's like a mushroom cloud in the distance.
Oh my god.
That is how the atomic bomb was created. And he's just trying to try to put his thoughts back together. I went to go to my station to gather some supplies. I was refilling from some of the merchants that were coming in, and as I'm on my way back, I thought I saw. I can't quite make sure, but I may have seen someone coming out of the back area here of the sheriff's office. And then suddenly there was a loud. It wasn't quite like a shot, but it was boisterous but somewhat muffled. And then I heard a drop almost immediately after, and that's when I rushed in and I saw Sheriff Brass.
Can I make an insight check on him?
Absolutely.
May I make an investigation check on the whole scene?
Yes, we will get to that in a moment.
All right.
But you are on the right track.
I will
As we
double
get
down.
into D&D CSI. No.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna double down my knowledge of artifice with Davenport's knowledge of medicine and see if maybe we could put something together.
And Edgar, what did you...
That would be a 28 on insight.
28 on insight. You are reading the body language, as it were, even though it's an automaton. But this is the worst condition they have ever been, and you've seen them around town, so you know that they're usually very astute, quite frank, and never sputters their words. So to see this is beyond something that shook them up.
Edgar's just gonna kind of lean back. Well, he's not lying.
Of course not. I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm very. Just. I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry, Malcolm. He didn't mean it like that. Edgar, shut up.
Davenport, it's no problem. But I believe that in my condition, I would need to find some form of respite, and I can't even form words at this point.
Just
I don't.
go back. Go back to the office.
Yes.
Go get some rest. Use my chair. Use whatever you need. We got it covered. Don't worry about it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And he
Take leave.
just quietly walks away, sullen, and is so distraught. There is a bit of a crowd kind of forming, but Twang, the the deputy as well, who has been learning more words, is just kind of telling people, nothing to see here, okay? Everything's fine. Its voice is still trying to get there, but it's got like a crowing in its voice as it resembles a lot more like a raven, this Kenku. And a lot of people are just like, what's wrong? What's wrong? And again, he just repeats, nothing to see here. Everything's fine. So inside, what is your plan for what you would like to do?
I think maybe Silas and Davenport wanted to maybe take a look at the body, see if there's been any kind of damage. Maybe if Silas knows how to pop open like certain circuit boards and stuff like that, he can carefully take a look at him.
Yeah, that's all routine.
Okay.
So Silas, you would know from Doc's medicine check that it is exactly what was stated, is that it's essentially in a coma right now.
Right.
And let's I'm not sure what that is. Oh, I think that was Isaac. You're good. Anyway, you open up and it's nothing but static as it comes.
Oh my God, we cannot save him.
Yeah, I think there's some voices beyond the white noise.
You flatlined him and it just sounds like static.
No.
We're here.
This house is clear. So,
Ghost!
essentially what you would be doing is like diagnostics for a arcane powered robot. With this, I will have you do... There used to be tinkering and mechanical checks, but they don't do that anymore on this edition. So I think you'll have...
If I may talk you into...
if you have any suggestions.
A medicine check, which I lack proficiency in, but allow me to apply my Tinker Tools proficiency.
I was just about to say that is the correct route to go, because using your proficiency bonus will help in this instance.
So that's going to be a +3, unless... Yeah, no, that's the one that makes more sense. Even though, that makes more sense. That's going to be a 13.
So 13 will only be about limited to, surface area that you're able to go in. He has seen a lot of wear and tear. He is a veteran of the last war. There has been welding. There has been a lot of sealing. There's been a lot of just stuff that you would never do to an automaton to fix them up. And this is so, it would be way too risky for you to try and do anything. But you do have a hunch that maybe someone at the Institute might know more on how to deal with this.
So Silas is going to kind of be looking around in there. He kind of has to, because he knows brass. So, and he's also not a doctor, so it's not like he has training to deal with this. So he has to very much so dissociate with what's going on. So he very much so looks like he's just working on some kind of machine, one of his projects, anything like that. And as he's basically going through what would be his chassis, I guess, he's just looking at it and kind of takes a step back, looks and goes, listen, this is all held together with bits and bobbles, and I'm afraid if I touch any of it, it's going to short circuit the whole thing. We got to get somebody who worked with Warforged. Hang on, I'll be back. You just monitor him. You make sure that people stay outside. I'll be back in a moment. And Silas is heading outside to the Institute and just like tunnel vision past all the people.
While you do that, Delilah, Ivara, would you like to do some formal investigating of the scene?
Yes.
Very well. Let's roll some investigation.
15
use my actual
plus
dice.
3, that would be a 18.
18
13.
and a 13. Okay. Moment.
Wait, I have a thing that I never used that I should use for this specific
Yes,
thing.
please use the thing.
Use the thing.
Knowledge of a
Use
past
the
life.
thing,
I get
KJ.
6.
Yes, I love knowledge of a past life.
19.
19. Okay. Both of you are well aware of the habits of this individual. He is a staple of the town. He would not leave his guard down. And looking around the scene, based on the fact that Malcolm said that he thinks he may have seen someone leave out of the from behind the sheriff's office, because there is no back door to this building, as the back is the jail cells. There can't be a back exit to an area where there are jail cells because, well, that's impractical. So that part seems to not add up. As you're looking around for maybe any sort of sign of struggle, the only thing you do notice is that the pile of Korenborg. Oh boy, sorry. The Chronicle, the newspaper, the Korenborg Chronicle, which is just a collection that he has had, is absolutely disheveled. They're scattered all over. These date back to, this is his own like kind of private collection that he was keeping during his time as a soldier. That he's told these stories to you a couple of times, so you've heard about this. But that was like his possession. That is one sole thing that he wanted, and it is completely like wrecked.
Now, again, you said that someone was seen coming out the back, but that's where the jail cells are, correct?
Right.
By coming out the back, what exactly do you mean? Where, like you said, if there's only jail cells, is there any way to exit out the back? Like aside, like, is there any sort of door or anything like that?
There is only one entrance in the actual sheriff's office, and that's the front door.
Okay.
If I head back that direction, do I notice there that seems off? Any evidence of anything magically related or physical damage?
If you have detect magic, you can use that if you'd like. Unless you have arcane, that's pretty high. Use that as a bit of a sense.
I never come prepared with my spell list. I apologize.
Is okay. As someone who runs games for 10 to 12-year-old kids, that is 99% of the time being played. It's them looking at their spells.
I do indeed have detect magic.
God, now
Okay.
I feel like a 10 or 12-year-old kid.
It's okay.
You do? Use you?
You at least have an excuse. No, they have an excuse. You don't. Sorry. That's what I meant to say.
Well, good. I don't mind being the bad guy.
So you throw detect magic up, and you have this sense that look up a bit. Yeah, you have this sense that there was an illusion magic cast here. And putting it to kind of together in your mind, if you were using illusion magic to hide something, some sort of actions, that sounds like the silence spell.
Okay.
Ivara,
Yeah.
you rolled 18, you said?
Yes, 18. 15 plus 3. So
Okay. So as you look and you see that pile of newspapers, just give me, I would say, give me an further investigation roll now that you've noticed the one.
I was
That was
actually
going
going to ask to investigate the newspapers,
Yeah.
so this works out perfectly. All right, that will be a 17 plus 3 for investigation.
Okay. All right.
Give me the goods, baby. Ivara's been paranoid enough as it is. Let's go.
Right, I'm just pulling up my own notes at this point. So the Kornberg Chronicle, it's like the most widely known and widely read source of written news in the entire continent. They're known for like being neutral and very objective. The distribution done by House Orion is some of the fastest news delivery ever, and it covered a lot of the war, but its biggest coverage was during the peace process during the end of the last war, and this was kind of held in contempt by Karnath's king, King Caius III. Karnath's comes up a lot in the headlines of these particular issues that he's saved. A lot about balance of power and the controversy about the Treaty of Thronehold, whether it was fair or not, and how he, in a lot of outspoken quotes, and it seems to go like month by month by month, but you do notice that there is about several issues from a particular winter month that aren't there. It kind of skips from that summertime area into the autumnal, and then skips right back to the next like springtime.
All right, so it looks like is there any sign that it probably has been stolen or missing? Is
Yeah,
that
as this was like pushed, this stack seems to have been pushed aside. Those were taken because the bottom of the stack is still cleanly piled.
All right. Would Ivara have any knowledge of what went on in that time, considering that like she's been kind of like she always is kind of has her hand in every pocket, no pun intended.
You can give me a history check if you'd like.
Hmm?
You can give me a history check.
History check? All right.
I'll give you advantage on that.
Yeah, baby.
Combine them minds.
First was a 4, so, and second was a 15 plus 1, so that'll be a 16.
Okay. So 16, with a 16, you would know that this was certainly a very troublesome time when the treaty was being signed and was being put together and it was trying to be agreed upon, because Karnath was the one that was the one nation of the 5 nations of Corvair that was just being particularly outspoken, and they thought a lot of the treatment that they were getting was unfair. Karnath is known for its very large supplying of a material called Karn wood, which is specific to that area. Lumber yards tend to get their best material from Karnath. If a lot of these, like, it all came down to like trade routes and a lot of changes in distributions and different houses getting different shares and stuff, and they felt they were being left out of what was meant to be now a kind of unified continent with its respective leaders in different nations, and they felt they were getting very much the short end of the stick, and it became a very like outspoken time, and they were working to maintain peace, which was them kind of like saying, hey, you know, we're working for peace. Why are we getting all of the crap, basically? Why are we getting the crap deals? We've negotiated these things. And there's always this kind of the personal bias that they seem to have developed for themselves. No one really has been able to confirm or deny anything. Karnath is very outspoken. Karnath is also the nation that Elder Whedon said that he was going to his mission for.
Really now? Okay. All right. Sorry, I just went on a bit of a typing spree. So, Ivara is, I think she's going to just kind of, after looking over the papers, she's going to turn to who else in the room right now?
Everyone here.
Everyone's here? Okay.
Everyone in here.
All right.
Except for Silas. He went to the Institute.
Okay, all right. So Ivara is going to look at the paper. She's going to take a notice that like there's a huge gap in between all this, and she turns to the group. She goes, "Y'all might want to take a look at this." She points to the papers and she goes, "There is a whole section missing of what Papa Brass used to keep in his collection, and as far as I could tell, do y'all remember the city of Karnath?"
More or less.
Do I?
Do we?
Yeah, everyone would know of that nation, of the 5 nations.
I just find it very strange that seems that from what's missing here is from the times where we were trying to, I don't know if you all remember, but Karn kind of put up a bit of a fight considering they seem to got the ugly end of the stick on a lot of things.
True. A lot of unrest in that part of the world. Very angry lot, and I wouldn't say that they're angry for no reason either. So I think one of them could have done this.
That's what I'm kind of thinking. There wouldn't be any other reason why this has disappeared. But the reason is, why would they take something like that? Like, if anything, they're just giving themselves away. Are they looking for something?
Michael, you said Brother Mason came from Karnath?
Yes, he was part of the mission exchange.
Well, if you think about it,
He is not originally from there, as he has stated.
if you think about it, just adds another string to Brother Mason. He said something awful funny that I mentioned earlier. Now Karnath is coming up, and that's where he came from.
Edgar would like to also make an investigation check for himself on the body to see if he can designate what caused. Like if there's like any like
yeah, you can take a look around on Copper and kind of see if there's any sort of signs of physical violence.
And I'm assuming I'm rolling a investigation.
This would be investigation, yeah.
Okay. That would be a 17 -1, so 16.
Again, it's really hard to tell where the wear and tear begins and what could have been some violence to a metal body. You just know that this particular person has been through a lot. And if anything, the most damage seems to have been when Copper's body just kind of impacted into the ground, into the floor. It looks like it was face first. But we're going to pause here as we return to the funeral 3 days later from that moment. As many of you know, Sheriff Brass was a veteran of the war, led an entire battalion through the nation of Seer, and was one of the only ones who made it back on that dreadful time we now know as the Day of Mourning. 58 soldiers of his troop went in, and only 2 of them returned, as he points to Malcolm. Malcolm has asked to say a few words. Brother Mason steps back. Malcolm, now having dressed himself in a formal black attire, even though he doesn't need glasses, he does wear a pair for the sake of trying to blend in with the humanity around him, and as he adjusts them onto his face, takes out a piece of paper. Copper Brass was my friend. But he was more than that, he was my captain. Myself and my fellow soldiers, we would have followed him through the very 9 hells and back. We fought for what we felt was right, not because we were conditioned to do so by our nature. We believed in being defenders of those who could not defend themselves, but we had that ability within us. I was made to heal. I was made to tend wounds. I was made to fix the broken. But I could not that day, except for one soul, my captain. I saw him there after the flash of light, and God knows what happened. I carried him back through the mist of that wall that had formed, like a cloudy bulwark trudging through there. We made ourselves back to the camp. We informed the general that we were the only 2 that survived. As time went on, and he became involved in law enforcement, and I deciding to pursue a more professional medical career, we found word of a town being formed, and we knew that we wanted to help. Not one day of that 3-year trek to our lovely town did I ever see him show signs of regret. He was a protector to the very end. And if I had the ability, I would be shedding tears alongside you. He steps back, places a hand on the wooden coffin, and pays a moment of respect. We now go back to just a bit later on that day. Silas, as you head to the front door of the institution, you are greeted by the staff that's there. Clinton Hiltwick is available, and he is at his office. I assume that's probably the first person you would go and check with.
Probably would be a good idea. I mean, Silas, thinking of Brass in stasis, it's kind of, yeah, this is urgent, but I can get to the person in charge. I don't have to start yelling at the person at the gate.
He's there. He's Silas. Oh, Silas, what's wrong? You look like... What happened?
It's Brass.
What happened?
We don't know exactly. I mean, Malcolm thought he was dead, but he's in some kind of stasis, and I don't know how to get him out. You got anybody on staff works with Warforged?
No, I'm coming with you. Take me to him.
All right. And
as you
turn
as
on
the
heal and
two
go.
of you are walking or briskly getting through there. So run me through what you heard happen so far.
Malcolm said something about hearing the thud, basically, of what he assumed was Brass hitting the floor, and seeing somebody come out the back of the jail. But now that I'm thinking about it, there ain't no door back there.
Did you check his glyph?
Me and Doc did. It's faint, but there's something there. But
okay, that's good. All right. Ow. You willing to get your hands dirty a bit?
That's all I do.
All right, because I'm gonna warn you right now, this ain't gonna be pretty.
All right.
And you can see that he is super determined. He has got a focus in his face. His eyes are like just laser beam focused on just getting to the sheriff's office as quickly as it can. You all see Silas come in with Mr. Hiltwick. He's got his sleeves already rolled up. He's just ready to go. He's back here. So he looks...
Yeah, we got him.
Right.
We got him up over here.
I'm gonna need all of your help for a bit. Even you, as he points to Edgar.
Ah! There's another one!
Calm down. I'm a friend, not a foe. All right. What I need you to do is keep an eye on that door and make sure nobody budges in, all right?
You're talking to Edgar, right?
Yeah.
He's going to kind of nod, but he's going to run up and kind of push him a little bit and then run away. But he casted guidance.
I don't think it makes a good door stopper, I'll tell you that.
Oh my
Well,
god.
at least he's more useful than a lot of people I've met in this town. Anyway.
Fair enough.
Present company excluded, of course. All right. Roll up your sleeves and help me bring up him onto his feet as he pushes and tries to basically mannequin style into a static pose of just arms down. This may seem a bit undignified, but we all have to remove the clothing material. We have to check all, be careful of anything. As gets off the jacket and vest that he was wearing, they put it to the side. Fetch me those tools over there. And Silas, he just shows you there's a bucket of wrenches and screwdrivers and such. Here's what I need you to do. I need you to check this carefully, this back panel, all right? It's not like it's just some sort of, steam machine that we've been tinkering with. These are runes. You have to be incredibly careful when maneuvering them, okay? Follow the glyph position. The way it is inscribed on there, that is the direction that you go. You walk it from top to bottom, left to right. Keep your eye on that.
Mr. Hill, look, I'll give you a little bit of insight. I took a peek inside the front chassis, and it looks like he's been taken apart and put back together with everything from twigs to who knows what.
Well, what we're looking for is the access core. The axis core. It's basically equivalent of a heart. If that thing is still running, you can find a way to juice it back up. Miss Armstrong, I do need a favor for, if you wouldn't mind, and if anyone would like to accompany you, if you could check around the back area of this building, as I've been told that apparently Mr. Malcolm had seen someone possibly leaving from that area.
Already checked back there. What all you looking to know?
Well, if you could see if any more details of perhaps footprints or maybe some sort of leaving behind of accidentally leaving behind items. Not all criminals are as smart as they try to become.
Do a second pass.
And Mr. Edgar, I think I've overheard you've been called.
Huh?
Just keep an eye out for anybody who may seem a little off.
Oh, I will.
Got a lot of onlookers here.
He's also
Dr.
going to
Davenport.
cast Detect Evil and Good.
Good call. Dr. Davenport. So, as you're seeing all of this go down, can you give me a perception check?
Sure thing. 13.
13. You feel you are absolutely getting this vibe of like, you know what, Malcolm's right. Something's off about all of this. You can't put your finger on what. Edgar, with your detect good and evil, I'm going to just make sure I look up the specifics of that. Just so you are essentially going to be trying to detect for, like, your radar is going off of. You can sense that, you know, the graveyard that's close to the chapel is consecrated. That is standard Silver Flame Church activity. One thing, though, that you do pick up, almost just outside of range, by the edge of that chapel, right where a corner of it meets the graveyard, there is a sense that something has desecrated that particular area.
Edgar is gonna look at Ivara. I think I picked up something. I need to check this out. Can you watch the door? Just temporarily. I will be right back. My short little legs will take me very quickly. I'm a fast boy, but a loud boy.
They let him.
Where's he going?
Ivar just
You
kind
will
of
see Edgar
chuckles.
just like.
It's like
Lassie
now it's like
layered.
we're talking to Lassie. Like, what'd you pick up, boy? Huh?
His legs are so small. How did he move at such a miraculous
knowledge.
pace?
You hear clank, 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 clank.
Before Ivara can even respond, he's already running, so she just sighs and she goes, "Well, I guess I'll be watching the door then."
For player knowledge, would that be
Yeah,
around the location that Silas found the glyph on the back of the church?
Player knowledge, yes. Character knowledge, Edgar has no idea what you're talking about.
Clank, 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 clank.
All right. Delilah, if you wouldn't mind giving me a Arcana check.
I have no additives to this roll.
Yes, I wasn't just going to make it easy.
an 8, but I'm going to use knowledge of past life.
Okay.
And it only brings it up to an 11.
Since you were already looking to detect for that illusionary magic, you do get a vibe that, yeah, that definitely was what was used here. The only thing is you can't quite pinpoint its place of origin. But somebody was trying to get out quietly.
She's just going to, like, meticulously, with her hands and detect magic still going, go over every inch of the back of this place.
Yeah, and as you do that ritually, again, it's illusory magic that is coming up as the only real, like, the strongest ping on that magic radar of sorts. Back inside, Silas, you are working with the glyphs, moving them carefully, and eventually you are able to essentially open up the back of copper brass. And there you see what is by far the most incredible sight for you, as you've never quite seen this truly in depth into the body of a Warforged. It is a mix of stone, wood, and crystals, and essentially what it's not quite wiring, but they are threads of arcane material that are holding it all together, almost like its own circulatory system. And they are tangible, but they're not. It's a very strange, like almost ethereal looking thread that are there. And in that heart, that nexus point, there is a very faint resonating hum coming from it. And at that point, that's where you both notice, and he goes, okay, there's still some life in this old boy. Let's put it back. We can quietly get him back to the Institute. We'll put him essentially on what is a life support to kind of get some sort of energy going through him. We have access to some of the dragon shards that were originally used for these developments from House Cannith, excuse me. I'm sorry, it's just a shock of all of this still.
Just stay on point, stay on the job.
Davenport's he's been observing this whole time, but he's gonna kind of speak up and he's gonna go, you seem to really obsessed with dealing with this as quietly as possible, watching the door, making sure nobody comes in, making sure nobody sees, making sure we sneak him off to the Institute. Is there something you're not telling us?
The public is aware that automatons such as him are essentially just living creatures fueled by magic. The problem is that we can never know who may be watching at a particular time, because the laws are in place that there are no more to ever be created again. All creation forges had been destroyed. There is no way for us to recreate or create new automatons like these. The sheriff is literally the last of a dying breed. And I will do everything I can to make sure that the access that I have to keep him around, or at least bring him to some semblance of a livable life.
Ivara is leaning against the door and she kind of chimes in for a little bit and she goes, now you mentioned there's crystals and stuff. Was Copper Brass, are we aware that he was made in Karnath?
Actually, no one really knows where any particular Warforged is generated or created for. What's publicly known is that House Cannith created what are called creation forges, and these were essentially deep underground factories that have all essentially been decommissioned, destroyed after the war was done. It was part of the treaty to make sure that there was a cap, that no more could be created, and that no plans or any sort of schematics or any sort of plans could be used or found again to be created. That was like part of the law and the treaty and the agreement to make sure. So what he is doing is essentially telling you, I have just enough to keep him from dying.
Okay. Upon knowing that, Ivara is going to glance down at Copper Brass back up at the group, and she goes, "I know he's been through a lot. He's one of the few remaining of the war. Does anyone know if he has any known enemies, or because I figured like if people don't really know this kind of technology." Like,
I was actually going to ask if, with the relationship I've built with him, if I know of anything from his past that might come back to haunt him in some form.
Like, is there anyone that would know how to take him down or know how he functions, pretty much?
Delilah, you would know from the stories he's told that the only thing that truly ever scared him was this renegade group of Warforged that called themselves the Blades. They were essentially their own cult that followed a crazed leader that was meant to be the most powerful built Warforged, a beyond prototypes, like T-1000 almost, like level of power, that allegedly went mad, created its own army, called themselves the Lord of Blades, and all followers became cult followers. And allegedly, after the treaty and after the Day of Mourning and everything that had happened, they apparently have made a home for themselves in the Mournland, as they're the only species that could survive all of that destruction. He had told you stories about how he fears that they're going to try and wipe out anybody like him that wouldn't go and follow that cult. Over time, he just said it was an old man's worries, even though it's a weird thing for an automaton to say, but he would just state he always had like the soul of a very like old individual, but he did always have that fear in the back of his head that someday maybe those crazed weirdos that he fought might come back. It's the only thing he's ever been keeping an eye on the back of his head for.
Delilah's still outside, right?
No,
The crowd
she's in the
outside has
jail.
kind of dissipated at this point.
Okay.
Twang has done a good job of boring people with the same phrase over and over again, enough
you,
to
Twang.
get them to be like, "Oh, we ain't getting nothing out of this. We'll get."
Nice. You go, Twang.
So, do we know if Copper Brass had any enemies that we don't know of?
Well, never had necessarily any enemies. There's only one thing that he ever said ever scared him, but I mean, up till this point, kind of chalked it up to old man's worries.
Well, it
What
seems
was
like old man's worries are coming to life right now, so I feel like they're no longer worries.
Well, I never keep anything out for evidence, so there's always a possibility, and I'm considering it. There's this group, this almost cult, he would say, of renegade warforged back in the day. That there's this one, nothing like you've ever seen. Biggest, most powerful warforged individual. Called himself the Lord of Blades. Was told that he went mad. Built this cult. They all, apparently after the Day of Mourning and the treaty was signed, they settled down in the Mourning Lands because they're the only people that can survive there. But he always kind of feared that they might come looking for him. You know, wipe out any individuals like him that didn't follow this group.
It's possible. We can consider that after we get him to the Institute safely and quietly as possible. I say we get cracking on right now. The crowd is dispersed outside. Now's our window to go take him.
First things first, let's make sure if we can get Copper Brass back on his feet. Maybe he can explain things to us if we can manage that. But
Exactly.
let's go ahead and keep that in mind, though, and upon further investigation.
So as you all work together to take the body of Sheriff Brass over to the Institute, once again we transition to the funeral. Brother Mason stands again in front of the congregation. As I was informed by the neighborhood watch here, and before the celebration of this individual's life began, we were told that and you see he pauses. He's just distraught. His face shows a sign of sadness. For someone, you would think that it looked like he knew the sheriff forever. But as far as you know, they've only ever spoken a couple of days now since Brother Mason arrived into town. And as he holds back, he says, I was informed that the sheriff did end up going quietly and peacefully. And we wish for all of our lives to be able to hopefully see that end whenever that day may come. And my hope is that it is not soon for us. But should it, we should all be as lucky to go out of this life as quietly as we may have come in. And I know the last couple of days have been hard for all of us as we have prepared for this. But I assure you all, we will come together stronger, and we will come out of this with more purpose. If anything, to be unified to fulfill the role that he is leaving behind. He gestures to the choir. They sing a hymnal of the silver flame for ones who pass. It is very much reminiscent of a funeral dirge The tone is somber, but respectful. And in that, we find ourselves now the day after you have brought him to the Institute. And it is here where investigating has kind of ceased, and now is just a time of reflection. As far as anyone knows, the sheriff is just being held in essentially the equivalent of an automaton morgue at the Institute. But for all of you, you are privy to the information that he is in fact essentially being given an extension of survival. From everything that they've been able to monitor from the arcane studies of an automaton like this, it seems as though it is still a deep stasis mode, with no real sign of whether it's going to wake up or not. That following day from prior to, you were all asked to come to the Institute to speak with the individual you spoke with. I'm sorry, I'm getting caught up in my own fake funeral thing. Just of even fantasy funeral, as it were. As Clinton Hiltwick just well, we've done we're doing all we can right now, and I just want to say thank you for your help yesterday. Y'all doing all right now for the most part?
I'll be better when he's back in the office, but it's quiet without our sheriff. And
yeah, son, you know you don't have to raise your hand all the time. We can't see you.
What did I find by the cemetery?
What you had found was something that you had recall in a passing conversation Silas speak about in regards to a strange symbol that seemed to have been magically wiped away. Silas, when Edgar speaks about this, you will be able to inform him of the prior information that had been discovered about how seemingly you were able to deduce that this was a washed away kind of a symbol of the alleged lost house, House Vol, an infamous house of Karnath that was all about recovering the alleged lost dragon mark of death.
Oh, death! I don't want any.
Now, I know that sounds scary, but you know it's we don't know anything yet, so don't go getting your panties in a twist. Everything's gonna be fine. You know, we're gonna figure it all out. You know, Delilah's on it. You know, she's been collecting a lot of information on it. She knows better than I do. You know, I'm just here mostly. So
While you're waving your hand and your shadow's moving like closer to him, you see him like,
my God, I think there's something seriously wrong with this young man.
there's a lot wrong with me. I was from the woods. The trees told me to come down.
Oh my
trees
God!
don't have shadows.
They did.
Dr. Davenport, if you don't mind, I'm going to let that one be your patient.
All right. I deal more with the physical.
I don't like
not
doctors.
so much.
Well, I guess
What do
we'll
you
all have
like?
to find out what we're good at eventually.
Essentially, yes, sir. Oh my god.
Lightning.
I might need to prescribe Edgar a little bit of anti-anxiety medication. I find whiskey to be the best bet.
How
It is very
ironic.
nice. It is very nice.
Hey, girls got to make money somehow, right?
Wait. What's whiskey?
Get the Edgar. When this whole thing is over, you come to my office and we'll give you your first whiskey. You will become a man.
Edgar, I'll make you a deal. If you and Doc show up to my brothel, I will happily serve you guys your first free drink of whiskey. How does that sound?
How old is Edgar? Good question.
How old is Edgar?
How old is Edgar?
For the
Oh God, the
record,
streams are crossing.
For reference rather, the goblins like mature at like 14 or something like that. So there's a good chance that he's like 15, 16.
I
Like,
also have to remember, in Western times, kids started drinking a lot
Everybody
younger.
drank.
that's all.
We're
Yeah.
Everybody
we're
drank.
taking him to a
Because the
brothel.
West actually sucked. So
Oh,
Boy's about to
everybody
kill a
drank.
man.
It doesn't matter if you're taking them to a
It's a rite of
brothel. Kids
passage.
are often
Yeah.
in the brothels.
Yeah,
Fair,
it don't
fair.
matter.
So you're
didn't have
basically a
contraception.
25-year-old
Yeah,
something or other.
skittish.
Okay.
Edgar, darling, we're gonna have to teach you how to party in this town.
You know, he has shit constitution, so one sip he's gonna be like, oh.
Yeah, you'll have Dr. Party
Same.
down and Miss Avara watching over you. Don't worry.
There's
if
a
anything,
reason you
if
don't see
Edgar
the
passes
leather
out,
drinking.
Ibarra will like wear him like a backpack, like and carry him around town.
Like Yoda.
Am I on a boat?
a monkey leash backpack on him.
Oh my god. Okay.
So as you're kind of trying to break the tension and just try to, alleviate some of this, this trauma that you've all kind of been just recently gone through at the last 24 hours, Mr. Heldwick just looks at you, Silas, and says, I just want to say I appreciate all your help. I'm so grateful that you came to me first. Now I know how this is all going to sound, what I'm telling all of you next. But we need to keep this quiet.
Insight check.
Yeah.
Okay?
Can I also do an individual insight check?
I would love if, though, perhaps you let him talk more for context of insight, perhaps,
Lies! I called
before you
him.
decide to
wait.
call him out on his anything. Like I was saying.
Anybody smell that? Bullshit.
Look, I appreciate the non-trusting, but come on. Let's
What
give
do
a
you
little bit.
expect from a D&D
The
party,
fact that
Mike?
it's the least trusting character here that is letting him talk.
Yeah.
Go on.
What we need to do is not put the public in a panic. Now, Mr. Hayden, you are well aware of my personal beliefs on House Cannith. And I am not a fan of the way that they are so protective of what they claim to be their generational proprietary business, being the Warforged. I've worked in the private sector. I've worked in the public sector. And I have seen both sides fall to their knees at the mercy of a house agent that tries to blackmail them. I don't know every citizen of this town, and I'm sure not all of you do either. And a lot of people come in and out, trading, purchasing equipment, picking up a few jobs here and there and staying and then leaving and going on their way to the next town. We can't trust any of them to not be someone who may have sabotaged our ally here for their own purposes or for some personal vendetta. Now, whether it may be this fear of a cult, I can't say. But I have my suspicions. When it comes to Warforged, House Cannith is usually not far behind on a trail. Now you can roll insight if you'd like.
Insight check.
Insight! That's a 19 plus 2. I got 21, baby.
19 plus 6, 25.
Edgar, we're waiting.
That would be a 25.
Wow.
All right, Edgar.
So, my
See
my
right
truth,
through you.
my walking, talking
Spoiler.
lie detectors here. You see that this is a serious individual who has just poured out the deepest resentment for practices that he cannot stand. He has always had to have this public image of the Institute. We're here to make progress for all of humanity. The way he was talking about that house Kenneth, and their practices, that is a man who has a passionate hatred for them specifically.
Okay.
Edgar's just gonna like walk up and just like plop down like in his full plate armor, cross-legged on the floor, and like arms folded and like.
I used to be a mercenary for House
Barish?
He doesn't remember.
Barish.
Whatever that one was. Yeah.
I'm telling you, son, it was House Barish. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what.
that's kind of what they do.
Also, it's literally the logo on your armor.
Oh, I forgot I had it.
Now,
This was my father's armor.
Okay.
upon this being like a day or so later,
Yeah, just one day after.
due to Ivara's background with her being a criminal and a spy, would she be able to ask her girls, and because like she always has her girls investigating anybody who comes in and out of this town. She tries to keep them as like a network almost to gather information on top of, pleasing the masses. And
I'm masses.
masses being Doc Davenport.
I'm masses.
All right, Doc, that's a point of inspiration.
But has Ivara gotten any weird information from her girls of anyone bizarre who's come through town, who's been someone who definitely unnerves some of the girls who they're like, hey, Miss Ivara, I just want to let you know this man kind of seems like a bit of a character that you might want to keep an eye on, like that sort of thing. Is there anyone bizarre in and out of town that is not known that her girls were?
Okay, I think you've asked every version of that question that you possibly could have. So I will let you know. That was like, I'm gonna cover all my bases.
Just to make
I'm
sure.
gonna make sure no turns.
Sometimes that's what
Ivara is
happens.
paranoid as fuck as it is, considering her work. So it would make sense. Girl's got to cover her bases, especially like she don't have a lawyer. She's got to make sure she got everything.
Oh God. Okay. So you are aware that that's so funny. You are aware that when House Tharish set up a lot of the worrisome folk of mercenaries, they came in and out and usually weren't causing any problems. Sometimes they poked their nose around in places they weren't supposed to be going. But the bodyguard House Deneth, that essentially are the marshals of the entire area, they've kept the peace in that regard. Merchants who come in and out of town most of the time are hucksters or snake oil salesmen. But there were a few occasions where there were a lot of not a lot, but like a smattering of folk that were really kind of interested in what was going on with the institution. One of which was found out to just be an investigative journalist for the Sharn Inquisitive, trying to kind of like get that big break story. The other of which, though, kind of came and went. Nobody really got a name. Nobody really got any sort of follow-up on that. And that was just about a couple of weeks ago.
Did we get any description or anything?
As far as you can remember, you just remember your girls talking about a shady character who was asking a lot of questions about the Institute. I apologize. When you stare at a screen as long as I have, your eyes tend to go, insane.
All right, so are we all gathered back in whatever one room we are in?
Yeah, you're still at the office of Hiltwick.
All right, so Ivara, she's gonna kind of step in, and she's gonna speak up. And she goes, "So my girls, upon considering the events of last night, did a little asking around. It seems we got some prying ears coming in."
Hey.
First off, we probably got to be a little bit more careful when it comes to covering our tracks, because it looks like someone's coming in here for a main story. But according to one of my girls, it seems that we had this shady character coming in asking a lot of questions about the Institute. And I really wasn't given any description, no name, no nothing. And granted, we don't really ask a lot of questions around my place of expertise, but it definitely seems a little bit too convenient for the time, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Well, we may need to follow up on that. And I trust you can be the one to do it. Yes,
my girls got everything on their hands, don't worry.
Yes, they do.
Yes,
What happened to the guy from the mines that we sent to talk to Sheriff?
That's a good question. You kind of last saw him leave the mine, and then the next thing that happened was you were back at you went to the sheriff's office to help. You saw him leave, but you didn't see where he went.
After the stuff with Sheriff went down, Delilah would have gone looking for him.
Okay. You kind of lost track of him. Even with footprints following from his bare feet. Give me a survival check.
Could I possibly do that at advantage using bits?
Yes.
I love this music.
Definitely sets the mood.
15.
Follow it back, and you do see that what happened is it took one of the horses from camp of the mining facility. It seems to have head east.
Where's my map?
Sister Mirror, you will have been informed of the ongoings of last night and leading up to this morning, where you have been disclosed the information about what happened with Sheriff, things that were found, as well as the fact that Mr. Hiltwick has kindly requested that, as far as the public knows, Sheriff Brass has passed on.
Was he actually murdered? Did we find that out?
So far, it seems that the deduction that has been agreed upon is that someone may have cast silence to quietly take out the sheriff in some means. And also, as far as anything taken from there, was a pile of newspapers from the Kornberg Chronicle that he had been collecting since the end of the war. The biggest chunk of it was during a fall season that seemed to have been discussing a lot more about the nation of Karnath, a outspoken nation of the Five post-war about how they feel they were getting the short end of the stick.
I have an idea. Hold on. Oh, wait. I'm going to wait for Sister Mirror to finish up her thing.
Yes, was there anything you would like to do at this time before we actually transition back to the funeral where Sister Mirror will have her chance to speak?
I am going to walk over to Ivara and go, ma'am, you know I'm a regular. You know, I'll go with her Nat.
Darling, I always know you're one of the best regulars.
I pay very handsomely to the point where I cannot afford regular medical supplies. But
Davenport, honey, you keep this place running real good.
I do. But what do you think are the chances that this mystery man that your girls have run into will be there tonight as well?
Ivara, she kind of chuckles for a second as she smirks looking at Doc, and she goes, do you got yourself a plan, Mr. Davenport?
I think it seems that me and this man have very similar interests indeed. I wonder if that could strike up some conversation, and who knows, I might be able to find this man, get some information, and then after I send him home, I have a little bit of fun, and then I'll come back and tell you guys what I found.
Watch out, some of them have teeth. Like the really.
Only thing I asked for is a side question. Is there a bar type thing inside this brothel, or is it just a brothel?
Yeah, there's absolutely a bar.
Okay. Only thing I ask is that tonight and only tonight, the drinks are on the house for me and this friend of mine. Keep it flowing.
Mr. Davenport, especially if you're doing us all a favor on this, I will happily make sure that all drinks are taken care of tonight, and I might even be willing to convince one of my girls to see if they can work a little bit more information out of him, if you know what I mean.
Yes! Yes!
Want us the juice?
Edgar's just gonna be over there like, this sounds like a hustle.
And Igor just kind of
This is every DM's regretting moment.
Girls to do anything. I could happily step up myself. I do got quite a set of skills if I do say so.
Goodness gracious.
Oh
Wait.
my.
What skills do you have?
Mr. Hiltwig is blushing heavily at this kind of conversation and is said, Mr. Hayden, we can discuss things another time. I do believe I have to go see the wife.
No, I want to know what skills she has.
Let her know how much I love her and appreciate
You'll
her.
know when you're older.
Ivara just pats
Edgar.
Edgar on the head and goes, "You'll learn soon, darling."
Oh,
Edgar.
When you're older.
Edgar, if I may, everybody wants to know what skill she has. That's just everybody wants to know.
I mean,
That's for me to know. You to find out with a good enough
Let's
price.
walk back into you guys.
Oh, hey.
I mean,
I was wondering, I'm glad none of you did.
she told me that she would show me later, so.
These
Ivara.
conversations going on.
I got this young halfling. I think you'd absolutely love her, sweetie.
Okay.
She's
I'm
one
gonna-
of
let's put a little kibosh on the rest of this. This conversation
And see.
continues. And in the meantime, we are going to just take a bit of a break. When we return, we'll have our second act and perhaps a bit more intrigue into this mystery being solved. So we will be right back in about 10 minutes, and we hope that you join back with us. Y'all come back now, you hear?
Breaks.
Y'all come back now, you hear?
And welcome back, everybody. First of all, thank you to everyone who has been watching the stream. We truly appreciate it. This is all a giant labor of love for all of us who just love this game, love playing games. Came together on a server like basically out of nowhere, and now it's as if we've been friends for a super long time. I'm not the only one who does a stream, of course. Matt does his Dimensional Dial of Dr. Diago with several of the individuals you see here, and more along the way with adventures every Wednesday night, or new adventures on Wednesday nights. They may not be every. The same here for us. So I do encourage you all to check out those. We also, thanks to KJ's wonderful editing skills, have clips of previous episodes of streams up on our TikTok channel. You can find all of us on all the 2B Diced social media. It's 2B Diced ADV. That's everything you need. All the social media channels, our YouTube, our Twitch channel here, obviously. Feel free to share the channel around and let people know we are the coolest games in town. All right, so let's get back to our story.
Let's get down to business.
To defeat the robots.
All right. Now I got to get back to my there we go. So, once again, moving forward to our present time in this story. Brother Mason is leading the congregation in a prayer for the fallen, a ritual rite held for funerals for members of the church and for those that he deems extensions of family, as he believes all are welcome in this gathering. When it is over, he looks out and he motions to Sister Mira. My friends, I will not be the only one who will be speaking in regards to being a representative of our church. As many of you know, Sister Mira is a willing and participant of the Neighborhood Watch. She was one of the people who informed me and whom I trust so much in regards to her leadership skills for this community. She is asked at this time to say a few words on behalf of the Neighborhood Watch and to all of you.
Thank you, Brother Mason. I doubt I am not. No, I know that I am not the only one impacted by the brevity of the news that we received. There are those in the watch who have known Sheriff Brass far longer than I have and know him far better than I do or could ever hope to, given the circumstances that have come to pass. There are few words that can be said to acknowledge the loss of this brave figure, one of the most important role models in our town. He was one who always made us feel safe in an otherwise lawless land, and I doubt there were any who will ever come to replace him. He was a light that always shined bright as a flame does. During times of doubt, during times of uncertainty, I'm sure at any point this past year or years before, you or a member of your family, your friends, someone you know, have come to approach the sheriff for aid, and he was always willing to give it. He will be missed, and we will find out what has happened to him.
Thank you, Sister Mira. And as you take a seat, Dia, give me a perception check.
Perception check.
Our first present time roll for this non-linear storytelling we've been doing tonight.
That was awful, darling. That was a whole 7. We are not well in this moment.
The emotion has caught up with you,
Hmm.
despite knowing what you know. Which, as we move back now to the day before this day, you have once again been told by Mr. Hiltwick that things are actually looking okay, but we need to keep everything still quiet. With your daily routine of life, word has now obviously come to the point where the town has accepted that Sheriff Brass is no longer with them, and that a funeral will take place tomorrow. And it seems as though the entire town will be there in attendance. Brother Mason approaches you, Sister Mira, asking, I apologize for this abruptness, and I know this is not the circumstances of which we would ever want to find ourselves in when we see one of our own fallen. But I would love if you would be able to help with the proceedings tomorrow, and perhaps say a few words, if you would be so kind.
Of course, I would not be one to pass on such an honor, especially given how much Sheriff has done for us.
Indeed. I only met him fleetingly, but he was so fascinating. And he was so protective of this town in a way that I truly admired. I can only imagine how the last 3 years for this entire town to get to know a true hero, a veteran like him, to just suddenly be gone.
He was one of the few that I can confidently say had a character of unparamount. I wish the one who comes after him good luck, for he has large shoes to fill.
Sister Mira, I am always fascinated by your ability to just see the most wondrous things about every individual. It is truly inspiring.
Well, there are always wondrous things about every individual, if you know where to look and take a moment to listen. I warn you now, though, I am not the best at public speaking. My apologies in advance.
No, I'm sure you'll do fine. The spirit will move you, I'm sure.
Of course.
If I may, it may seem like a bit of a personal question, but can I at least get your opinion of how I've been doing in the short time I've had to be here and get to know you at the town as well? You and the town. You
Me and the town. Yes. I do prefer how you've been conducting the business of the church more so than our previous elder, but that could come from a place of bias in that the ways of our city are more forward-thinking compared to the ways that have remained here. You have my approval, even if others may disagree. The weight of that may mean different to you. But there will always be others who disagree, as I've told you before.
I'm not looking to change their minds or even change their hearts. Maybe change the way they listen to and look at other people, but you know, I feel like at this point I'm trying to follow in your footsteps, the way that you show so much compassion to people.
Lead with honesty and integrity, and there is little wrong that can be done. That's all I must really say.
Wise
Can I
words.
just check him?
Absolutely.
Can I vibe check?
Vibe?
Yeah, are we all there?
No.
21.
Okay.
This is the next day, and this is just these two.
This is a private conversation, sir.
See your
Yeah.
way. It's the A and B conversation. See your way out of it.
He's paying a lot of attention to you as he talks.
A lot of attention.
Ooh.
Ivara is sussy.
He's not broken eye contact. He's been really. It's like you're the only thing in existence right now.
Mira, roll to seduce.
She
Doesn't know what
is
that
a woman
means.
of the church, dear.
That means very little for the church.
My stars and daughters.
What's just the service level?
Well, I'm going to prepare for tomorrow, I guess. I think Malcolm wanted me to speak with him as well. He sounded like he prepared something. Well, my best to the rest of your day and your associates as well. I'm sorry
I'll
that
pass on your regards.
nothing could be found.
Nothing has been found yet.
Yet. Well, have a wonderful day, sister. He
You as well,
once
brother.
again awkwardly walks away from a conversation with you.
Detect thoughts
Surface
as
Yeah?
he's walking away. Yeah. Service level. I'm not gonna probe
level. Okay.
because I've been
Surface level thoughts
traumatized.
immediately are. What are you doing, man? Don't. Come on. Don't be like this.
She's so nervous.
You're better. You're better than this. Just don't be this kind of guy. He is hammering into himself. He thinks he is an idiot. He thinks he is a fool that messed up a conversation, even though nothing was barely even talked about. He is like just, she probably hates me.
Why?
Yeah,
Damn.
he's embarrassed for no reason.
Does not understand the reasoning. Just thinks that shy and awkward. God bless him.
Aww.
Because it's how he's always presented himself to me. So this doesn't seem out of the norm.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Oh, she's so sweet.
Okay, so we're gonna move from here over to Delilah, as you are patrolling, presumably. as per your usual. Nothing really seems to kind of kick up. It seems as though everyone is just talking or focusing about the sheriff, but in good respects. There's a lot of just stories being shared, and there's nothing, it seems, of any kind of ill will. And if anyone does say anything bad, usually those people are getting punched in the face because he is a hero of the town. He is being defended by all means. And then eventually that person will like shake it off. Like, you know what? I was wrong. He's a great guy. He was a great guy. So can you give me an insight check on yourself? I know how it sounds, but when I ask you the question afterwards, you can let me know how honest you want to be with yourself.
Oh, this is like rolling for therapy. Oh, God.
I like to mix it up a bit.
Okay.
You don't have to tell me the number, but you can just use your own judgment as you think about what's been going on the last couple of days. Everything that's kind of come to a halt. Tell me if you feel, honestly, honest with yourself, do you feel like you're actually onto something, or are you grasping at straws because it's the only kind of life you've known, rather than have a day-to-day personal life?
I think Delilah is sitting somewhere in between. Like, debating whether or not she is grasping at straws because it's the only thing she's known, or if, like, she does have some form of relationship with people. It's not like she doesn't have relationships with people. So she's kind of like bouncing back and forth between, but trying to keep herself occupied with literally anything else.
Okay. Good to know. Edgar, what are you up to?
Edgar's in his barrel outside of the tavern right now.
Of course.
Lid on it. And he's just like, there's like a little like peeky hole that he's just like.
There have been several instances where people have mistaken you for a garbage can.
And then it's like, nope, my barrel. I was here first.
My apologies. My apologies. What the hell? And what are you looking for?
Just anything. He's not used to civilization.
All right, give me a general perception check as you kind of, in your paranoid self, start looking for something.
That, my good sir, would be a 22.
Something does catch your eye.
Tell me
You
what
see
it
an
is.
individual you've seen around town. They go by the name of Jake.
From State
Jake
Farm.
is a young man, half elf, and he tends to nervously walk around, kind of seems to be always reciting something to himself, some kind of like planned words to just. He looks like he's standing a bit taller, or he's trying to. He shakes it off, and he's just like, no, stupid. And you watch him as he starts to somewhat sneak between buildings as he's looking around before he kind of walks back.
And you just see Edgar just shuffle with the barrel. The bottom's not there, and he's just like.
I'm not
in his
going to
plate
ask you
armor.
to do a stealth check because there's no way anyone would not notice the
I
walking
know,
barrel.
And he has plate armor, and he has disadvantage
But
on stealth.
yeah, that's the other
He
thing.
thinks he's being like so stealth. Someone
Oh.
looks at him, he's like,
Yeah. For someone who hates the dark, you absolutely believe that you are a shadow right now.
I am darkness itself,
Yes.
reincarnated.
I am seeing plushies multiply across my screen. The more and more, there is a lot going on. I apologize for any nerves that I may have touched.
Support plushies.
My God. That's the biggest support plushie. So you watch this individual. They sneak off. You do hear a couple of people go, "What the hell is that?" Must be some dang
hear
thing
somebody.
in
He's just
Steve's
like,
building. Yeah, this would be the worst level of Metal Gear Solid. That
it's Kronk when he's trying to get rid of Cusco, and he hides and there's all the signs.
Tigger, only if you make your own theme music.
Yes. There we go. Now it's official.
Yes.
So you find your way into the alley, the same one, and you do catch that this young half-elf man is, in fact, reciting now out loud to an unseen individual. Give me another perception check to see what you are able to hear.
Okay, that would be a 26, a 19.
26. You're practically reading lips at this point, because what you see is this man pouring his heart out in poetry to someone. And what they're saying is, I have been thinking about you every day for the last several weeks, and I don't know what it is I could do without you. You've stole my heart, and you are something I will treasure for my family forever. And I hope that we can really make a good life for as long as you're around and for as long as I'm doing what I can. And from the other side of that, you just hear, and there's another voice. Son, that's really nice, but are you gonna buy this pig or what? He goes, yes, I'm sorry, I'm starting my farm, and I was really I finally have enough money to save up for this. This is great. This is what I've wanted to do. You want to start with one pig? But hey, I ain't gonna say no, but whatever. Oh yeah, I already have the family pigs at home, and they'll start to pull other livestock, and this is my chance to be my own man, be my own boss, start a real career, make my family proud, He goes, all right, well, good luck. And you see a young man just happily walk away with a young pig. He goes, I'm not gonna. He goes, can't name you, but you are gonna be the first of the livestock for my new farm.
Let me do it for you, Kirby.
I'm letting you all know you're all sick.
That's not the first time I saw that.
He was serenading a pig, bro. Please.
Listen, some people.
In
really
times like this, it is very concerning.
Edgar
We're the sick ones. We didn't write that poem.
I didn't write anything.
We didn't
Why
know
is he serenading the pig, Michael? Why is he serenading the pig?
Edgar is going to
He's
think
greasing
this.
somebody up with something.
No.
Anyway,
Edgar's going to think that this is the tea, and he's going to tell
Oh my God.
everyone.
everybody.
He's going to be like, I went on this scouting mission,
You would
and
not believe.
I found this guy, and he's talking to a pig.
Dr. Davenport, please divulge me with information about your plan that you have been making with Ivara.
So, the plan is tonight. Wait, is this the day of the funeral?
This is the day before.
Okay. Wait, is the sheriff? Are they dead?
The sheriff is still in deep stasis at the
Okay.
Institute, but the rest of the town just thinks he up and died.
He's dead.
Okay. okay. So, my plan is to tonight go to the brothel, pocket full of gold. But rather than going there to do what I usually do, I'm going to go there to see if I can find this mysterious figure that's been talking about Cardiff. So that's what my plan is.
And I will say, when it comes to any new face that comes in the tavern, Ivara is going to be, she's going to keep letting the drinks flow. She's going to be very friendly with whoever strangers are coming in, because she's going to try and loosen up any lips that are possible spilling some information.
Gotcha. And that we will absolutely see. But first, Mr. Hayden, as the business of the day has been going on, you've been presumably at your workshop. It's kind of just getting back to what you do and what you know best. That schema, though, that picture that you've been looking at, though, if you would like, you have gathered some information a bit more since the incident in the mine shaft, where a very strange, carved into the wall of a kind of archaic dwarven language spiraled around that seemed to just be this loose train of thought, the words of a person who went insane. But as you look at the schematic, you see that there's something familiar about these patterns and the way that the patterns were written into the wall. Give me a... You know what? Let's do a history check.
That'll be an 18.
An 18. And the way that you saw the writings on the wall, it seemed as though you've seen patterns like these where people have created guardian spells, shield, a common spell used for defense. The incantation and the kind of glyph that will appear usually looks like some sort of spiral, some sort of circular shape that forms. The schematic also shows seemingly the same type of pattern being used in a very large scale shield. You know that word bulwark is a term that is used for a crafted defensive wall. I'm just going to let your mind think on that. Do with that information what you will.
Yeah, it's so can you remind me again, like, do you still have what the inscription said?
Of what was on the what was on the wall, or what is on the schematic?
Why not both?
So the schematic was not completely deciphered, but all you were able to get from that is that these are definitely plans for some sort of... these are instructions on how to build a thing. What those instructions are exactly, uncertain. What that thing that would result in using the instructions, very uncertain. But the patterns between the way that they are written and the patterns that you saw the words being written on the wall about not being able to escape, feeling stuck, being put in control of a some sort of outlying force. Just lots of ramblings, not those words exactly, but a lot of things about being told, like being shoved behind a barrier, being pushed through something and not coming out the other side the same. A lot of like use of language talking about being enclosed in something.
Oh, man. There is a lot on Silas's mind with all of this. I mean, now he's wondering if there's something locked up down there that may or may not have been accidentally released, or if it's still locked up down there. He's still got Brass on his mind, because as each day passes, that Brass is there with Clinton Hiltwick. It's kind of, why isn't there any change yet? And he's getting more and more anxious, and he's just, he's been trying to keep himself busy and keep going through his day to day, but the anxiety is getting to him about, like, he needs to see whatever is going to happen finally frickin' happen. And he's probably just right in the middle of what he's doing. Just drop the tools, go get go get his gear, and just start looking around. He doesn't even have a direction. He's just going to just start searching. He's probably going to check out back by the church again. He's probably going to go, like, if he can, go check the perimeter of the mines. He's just all over everything right now.
In this confusion, in this ultimate use of brain power, I need you to give me a con saving throw.
That's not bad.
Roll for clarity.
That's not good. Oh,
I didn't like the sound of that.
it sounded like defeat.
Well, it doesn't get much more defeated than the number 1.
Oh, fuck! Oh, God.
Edgar, as you're walking around town as well, you see a very distraught Silas Hayden, frazzled, looking just like a wreck. And eventually, Silas, you get to the point where your head is throbbing. You are feeling overexerted, and the flash of what you saw in that cave starts to pop up back in your mind, and you realize you are currently having a panic attack. And Edgar, you see that Silas is distraught beyond just reasonable means.
Edgar is gonna, like, throw himself sideways, and the barrel's just gonna fall, and he's gonna, like, roll out, stand up, and just, like, all the way
I'm
over
sorry.
there.
A man is having a panic attack, and you're going to jump out of your hidden space with it?
Yep, that's what he's doing.
And he is going to run up, and I know it doesn't need to be physical, but he's gonna grab you and cast Calm Emotions.
Okay.
And you need to make a Charisma 15 saving throw.
Unless you
Choose to fail.
just decide to take it. I will say, though,
Yeah,
in
I
your
guess you can.
condition, I will say in your condition, you can either do it, but it would be with disadvantage, or you can just willingly accept the fail.
We'll go with the disadvantage, because he doesn't exactly know what's happening. This
Yeah,
goblin
exactly.
just jumped out of a trash can and grabbed him. So,
Oh, God!
Yeah.
What is this thing?
Edgar just needs to be grateful the trash can isn't outside the brothel.
Yeah.
Oh,
This is a good nat 1. We're gonna put that dice away.
Okay.
You
So
said it's another nat 1?
yeah. So
I
Isaac,
succeed!
you feel, Edgar, you feel Silas's heart rate drop down to normal. The sweat clears off. His pupils are not dilated by any means.
He's gonna, like, pull him down
Hayden,
and
you
drag him
you-
into
you-
the
you
alley.
feel calmer. This creepy little goblin who you've only met a couple of times, but have seen most of the time running away from explosions by a mad dwarf, really just helped you out right now and gave you some instant Xanax.
Edgar just
Silas
pulls
is
Silas
going
into the
to-
alley and like leans him up against the building. That way, people don't see you. Just like collapse outside.
Yeah, this is the most inconspicuous thing you've ever done.
Silas is going to put his wand back in its holster as somebody just jumped out at him. And just in that moment, like you said, just kind of like slump there and just kind of sit and nod and by the entirety of the sovereign host, what just...
I don't believe in the sovereign host. I believe in nature.
That's all well and good, actually. I'm not a holy man myself, but I gotta make something happen, I believe.
What do you need to make happen?
There's too much that... This is kind of hard because, like, trying to put the, like, crazy, I gotta get something done thoughts through the filter of calm emotions.
Yeah. It's like you've basically been given a magical sedative to just really, like, take you down. Because he did thankfully prevent you from gaining 2 points of exhaustion.
So he'll just kind of, as he's going through it, just say like,
folks, if I could show you the private chat that we have going on in this, it would be ridiculous. There is a whole other...
Read it out loud.
I don't have the ability to show it to you, but if I could,
Oh my god.
I still wouldn't.
Well, we have to
Anyway.
join the Patreon for that one.
Oh,
Get snapshots of the private chat.
Oh my god.
and there it is. But yeah, Silas is just as he's being asked, what do you think needs to make happen? He's just like staring at the ground and thinking for a moment. He's gonna kind of look up at him and just go.
Edgar's just gonna plop down cross-legged right where you were looking on the ground, just like, and he's like looking up at you.
There's a rumor that I know about, and depending on it, how some people might feel about that rumor, we may have a way to actually help. And he's gonna, like, in that moment in his calmness, just like look side to side and make sure that he's not being observed.
Give me a perception check.
That's what I am not good at. Perception. All right.
Edgar, noticing that he's looking around, he is going to...
You can help him.
He's going to help
Give him
him,
the
but
help
he's
action.
also going to... Where is it at?
What is it, Silas?
Are you throwing a
Oh,
guidance? at him?
Isaac. I'm Silas.
Yeah, I'm helping and throwing a guidance at him.
Okay. You can do one or the other.
I'm helping him. Give him advantage.
All right, so it's still not great. That's a 9. Can I guidance myself with it?
As far as you know, it's just the two of you.
I'm gonna lower my voice anyway, and just might have something to help Sheriff Brass. But that's if it's not a rumor, and that's if we can get to Sharn. And that's also if we could pull off some batshit crazy shit.
What is it you want to try?
And Edgar is going to cast Detect Good and Evil just in case.
you cast
Silas's
Detect Good and Evil,
Asmodeans.
and yes, you reveal that he is Satan. No, you, yeah, he is. There's no reason for Silas to be anything but a pure person in your eyes.
Well, I just meant for everywhere. So
yeah, and you don't detect any sort of nothing that magic would pick up, or that spell would pick up rather. Though your attention does get drawn again to that same corner spot, because it just still lingers, that portion of that corner of that graveyard by that particular spot of the chapel where the mark that you found, Silas, is classified as desecrated from this spell.
That spot is still desecrated.
Desecrated?
Desecrated.
And like
I don't know. I
look
just like
over-
this little like thing, and then it's like, oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's where I found that symbol. Probably about maybe like a week or so ago now, something like that.
What happened out there? And he points to like where you like fell over. I mean, I know your like emotions were like all over the place, which is why I used the spell and then the magic to calm down your.
Yeah, that was precisely what happened. It was the emotions all over the place, and I'm not a doctor, but I know that if that does happen too much, that your body can just kind of say, "No, we need a nap," and then it happens, or it doesn't, and then it starts to just go haywire. And it did one of those, I think. Until
do you have this often?
I actually have never had that before. I've seen other people. This is not something that I do. I'm usually very level-headed, get my job done. So
Edgar's just gonna start like grabbing your face and like turning it into the light and like looking into your eyes and stuff, and he's gonna make a medicine check on him.
I feel high. You're not gonna hide too much by doing this.
And that would be a 17. Wait, no, 12
He
plus
looks-
7, that would be a 19.
He looks good, up to snuff.
Well, you look healthy. Did you do anything that might be different than your usual daily routine? As he's like looking into your ears.
He's checking spots you have not reached in years, Silas.
Come on. Hey, you don't know me like that. Put that down.
I mean, this 3-foot goblin's like, oh.
Like a little gibbon just climbing around you.
Would you sit down just for 2 seconds? Wow, why am I trying to calm you down? Holy
At a time like seems like Silas needs an emotional support for.
This is me calm. I'm not good with people.
No, I haven't done anything different other than my normal daily 7 cups of coffee, and
Same.
I've been working since dawn. It's what time now?
It's like 10 a.m.
Yeah, it's just like I was just working. I missed my normal coffee break, but just was drinking while I was going, and then I decided that I needed to go check some things out, and yeah, now we're here.
And what did you go to check out?
Everywhere that I've been before, because kind of when you're working on something and then it's not working the way that it's supposed to, I feel like I've missed something, so I'm just kind of trying to check all the math, as it were.
I mean, you were over there. Is there anywhere else that you went that you thought might have been linked to the desecration?
Well, me and Delilah checked out the mines the other day. I mean, and I did pass out down there for a little bit, I guess. It was very concerning at the time, but, had to kind of keep up appearances, didn't want to freak her out, which I guess is kind of silly since, she's Well, you know.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you'll figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, just check out, and he'll start like tugging at his cheeks and stuff. You know, do that to her someday, and when you get your finger sewed back on,
Oh,
then
she
you'll
needs a
understand.
checkup. Okay. I will give her a checkup later. And he like stops and looks at you, and like pokes your forehead, and he's gonna cast protection from good and evil.
Aw. It's adorable.
I am loving this wholesome duo right now. Like, oh my god.
Salus crosses his eyes and looks up at the point, just kind of like,
But that will also cancel the calm emotions because they're both concentration. So
I will
he's just
say
kind
though
of
that
testing
the
something.
calm emotion did its job, and it's not like the panic attack is just gonna spring back up.
Fair enough. I wasn't sure.
Oh no, he's dying. I chilled him.
But at least you're protected from bad things.
Back in the barrel.
You're protected from everything but yourself.
Yes, essentially.
if anybody's taking me out of this world, me.
Edgar's just gonna nod.
So
I
from
think you're good
here,
now.
as
There's just protection
the
from
day-
good and evil. Just matches dies.
as the day moves on, we get into the later evening as Davenport and Ivara are plotting. What is the vibe in the Trenchfoot Tavern tonight?
Oh my god.
Pretty much, right now, like, Ivara has all of her girls on guard. Pretty much, she's told them, like, darling, if you guys ever see any new strangers coming in here, just be extra nice to them. Try to see if we can squeeze out any little bit of secrets we got. Drinks will be free flowing tonight, so just make sure you come back.
Taylor, I think we've known each other long enough that I need names for your employees. Come on now.
Oh, shit. Okay.
You've got a staff to take care of, darling. You better know them.
Because I better know them too, so.
That's a whole different
It's for
classification
research
of.
purposes. That's all.
That's a very different classification of fantasy name generator.
Okay.
That's Jewels and Flowers name generator, specifically.
Coming to the stage now, it's
In honor of McKenna, who has been able to make this, I would say one of my main bottom bitches would probably be a. I gotta use the terminology.
It's the proper research term. Okay.
You know what I am saying?
What's her name?
So, her head
this
girl.
is why there is a mature warning before you open the channel.
Mature warning, guys. The upcoming
I would
series.
say her main chick would be a changeling who
Appropriate response.
Wait, was
Customizable.
that Davenport's excitement or Irina's?
I would say both.
We are the same. We are the same.
We are the same.
We are the same.
Let's call her Charm, like, just because she is
Charm.
literally known as like one of the most like charismatic girls in the house. She literally appeals to whatever you seek, and
Oh my
she
God.
goes by the name Charm. I think would be a very
No.
Charm. I like it.
Okay.
Anyone else?
I
need 2 more names.
Okay, we got a changeling named Charm. We have let's have a full-blooded elf. Her name will be. I kind of just want to give them all stripper names.
I see no reason why
Her
not.
name will be Cinnamon.
Cinnamon the elf.
Sure.
Okay.
Or do you want to call her Ginger?
Cinnamon.
Cinnamon, okay.
So much funnier.
Her sister's name Ginger.
And
Oh.
Cinnamon, I feel like her skills would be she will be a half orc. No, it's not Cinnamon. My third girl will be a half orc, And
Okay.
she will be able to drink anybody under the table pretty much. That is her expertise. And I will name her.
Oh God.
Give me a moment. Sorry.
Listen, I'm
No.
the one who has to voice them, so
Oh God.
Sorry, you like have me on the spot here for
we'll
employees.
see where it goes. Yeah, now you know how it fucking feels.
Sugar
This is
plum.
why I'm not ready for DMing. And the third one, the
Nancy.
half orc, we will name her. Her name will be Olga.
Oh my
I was
God.
so hoping for something Eastern European, and you have read my mind and
Oh,
satisfied my
My God.
vocal desires.
And she
All
will be known to drink people under the table. Cinnamon would just be known as like a sweet little thing, but if anything, she is
Absolutely.
extremely deceitful.
Perfect.
Well, she knows so much. She looks good for her age of 400 years.
Who, Cinnamon?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
She's an
Cinnamon
Aaron
has the
Almeida.
dirt on everybody. Cinnamon is the blackmailer.
Yeah, absolutely. She knows
Yay.
way too much. Okay, cool. So they have been assigned to basically accompany Davenport and be the eyes and ears, helping scout.
Davenport's got bitches. I love it.
Olga, Dr. Davenport,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that our instructions are clear in regards to what we are looking for tonight.
Very clear. Crystal, you couldn't even say. I can't believe I got this assignment. This is ridiculous. I don't work a day in my life. You know that?
Good doctor, we might need you to concentrate a little bit more. This
Oh,
is
yes,
not a
listen.
usual typical night that you spent here. This is
That's right.
you have we have been put in a position of recon information.
I will. Yes, I will remain so focused. My God, so focused.
Ivar-
She kind of just like raises your cheeks. I know you
so
will.
focused. Very.
I know you will, darling.
Yeah. God damn it! I shouldn't have told Ivara that this wasn't going to be a regular night. Oh, I gotta keep my promise. Out. All right. Okay. All right. So plan number one. You guys watch the door and wait for any of those interesting looking customers to come through, and I will be waiting back here on the booth. And y'all just call me over with the signal.
Cinnamon, as far as you know her, says, "Do we need to think of some sort of signal or code, perhaps, to give you a notion?"
Absolutely. It's gotta work from a distance too. How about don't know.
What about
I
you
mean,
order
I
a certain kind of
particularly-
drink from the bar or something?
I am fond of my particular hair flip that I have known to do.
I am also fond of that. That would work.
Very well. If I do it
Alright.
with my right hand, that means that is a no-go. If I do it with my left, eyes forward on the individual I'm speaking with.
Focus. Can do.
Very good.
Do not be mesmerized by her hair flips.
Oh,
You
it is
forget-
beautiful, like golden brownish hair, just full volume. It's like she doesn't do any work on it either. That's just
Wow.
an elven feature.
How could I miss a hair flip? By God, how could I miss a hair flip? You got it. That's the signal. I'll be sitting right here in the shadows with my drink. And you just flip your hair. Was it to the left or to the right that you wanted me to come up?
Right hand, no. Left hand, yes.
Got it. All right, gotta know my left from my right. Got it. All right. Let's
If
show
my
begin.
hand is up and it looks like you are right side, that is the left one. If I am, you know what? How about I just give you? How about I look and give you a look? So this way it's not confusing.
I think
Cinnamon,
that's a better
you
idea.
do what you do, and I shall bring drinks over. Hopefully, loose lips sink ships, as they say.
We'll see if that holds up tonight. All right, ladies, show's on the road. Let's go.
Well,
that's the fun part because you and Taylor are going to be rolling your perceptions for these two individuals.
Okay.
Well, one of you can roll performance and one of you can roll perception.
Performance.
Because one of them is going to be talking up individuals, whereas the other will be scouting. So
I'm
you
plus
can
3 in
decide who does what.
performance.
You've got
Okay.
performance. I have a +6 in perception.
Well, there you
Do I
go.
also get
Okay.
advantage on performance?
Oh yeah, this is your home. This is your
This is
world.
my-
This is my realm.
This is my
These are my
favorite.
girls.
This is my favorite.
I got quite a few years of experience on me, darling.
Oh yeah. All right. I'm gonna do my first perception roll. Or right now?
Yep.
All right.
This is your part of the story. is that right?
12.
12. Okay.
Fuck. Oh boy.
And Ivara, what'd you get?
Or so it's perception or performance, or
You're
just
doing
perception right now?
performance for Cinnamon,
Oh boy.
while Davenport was doing perception for Olga.
Okay.
Oh
So
no.
performance for Cinnamon.
Yes.
That would be a 19 plus 3. So that would be a
Okay.
22. So Cinnamon got it going on.
Absolutely. Just killing it with the stories, the songs, the getting all the right attention, and she keeps an eye on the two of you to kind of just be like, follow where I'm going because I think I have something. That one kind of, she just goes, don't worry about him, and whispers to Charm to take care of him, to just kind of go and get that distraction out of the way. Olga is, singing a native song of Zendrick from her homeland, where she's just drinking with everyone. It's a regular Oktoberfest from her country right now,
Perfect.
and kin.
I love this
But
so
she is
much.
also keeping an eye on the two of you in like a triangulation. There's going basically from the booth to Olga to Ivara, as the three of you are watching Cinnamon.
Oh boy.
The amount of times that I'm saying it is just strange. But I'm for this. Let's do this.
Yeah.
All
right.
Give
I don't know if
me.
anybody knows, but Cinnamon came from Bag Grandpa. If you noticed.
Eventually, she starts talking to one who, instead of speaking to her, he keeps whispering to her. All his communications have just been kind of like to the side, and she's laughing, but Ivara, this is part of the act of her trying to convince another customer to become regular. And he kind of he's doing a lot of looking around. He's keeping an eye on whom else might be looking, but there's so many people, it's very hard to kind of check. Olga looks at you, Dr. Davenport, and just kind of points with her glass and a cheers in the direction of that gentleman that she realizes is probably the one who's been talking too much. As Ivara, you see the left-handed hair flip signal to that is certainly someone who's talking too much about a particular thing. How would you like to proceed?
Where are we positioned right now? I'm sitting at a booth.
You've got your booth,
Okay. I'm gonna say
the
that's
docked
maybe in the
booth,
corner.
as it's become known.
You gotta make sure you keep that area extra clean.
And ladies, the doctor is in.
That booth has a plaque saying donated by Doc Davenport.
We appreciate all your donations, Doc
I'm
Davenport.
sitting right under it.
Just a patron of the arts. That's all.
God. Let's see if my booth is in the corner, and this where is
Why
this?
wouldn't it be?
It's in the far corner. Oh God.
Of course.
And where is this mysterious other patron that has walked in?
They're just on the opposite side, where on the far end of the bar. Unfortunately, this guy is doing that thing where he leans up against the wall to kind of block her in. Freaking hate that guy, but he's doing it.
All right. I'm going
Barnes'
to.
eye just-
Also, if you're a person
Yeah,
out in the real
Barnes'
world who
eyes.
does that, fuck you.
Fuck you.
Hate
Fuck you!
Bless you.
Don't do that to people. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. It's gonna look really suspicious if I just go up to him. So
Well,
I'm
his
gonna-
back is to you. She's kind of purposely positioned this individual so that any approach would be out of
Oh.
his field of vision.
Does he have a drink by chance?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. I also have a drink. So,
Sure.
Avara, are you next to me, or like where are you?
Ivara is kind of near the bar area, scouting out the whole place. Kind of almost in the other, almost kind of catty corner to you, to kind of just cover the other entrances that you may not see from that
Okay.
perspective.
All right. I am going to take my drink and stumble a little bit towards them, acting kind of like I'm drunk.
Uh-huh.
And with his back turned towards me, I'm going to stumble right into him and pour my drink all over him.
And
so back to back, you kind of
I kind
okay.
I kind of turn around and
Yeah.
bump into him, and our drinks.
Hey!
Oh,
what gives,
oh
man?
my goodness! Oh God, I'm so sorry. Oh,
Come on!
I'm so here. Let me take that from you.
How do you get your hands off me? What
Hey,
the hell?
I apologize. Let me
Ivara
get-
You
immediately
better
comes
apologize.
over. She goes,
This is a good
God
scene.
damn it, dog. I swear to God, I'm gonna have to cut you off, aren't I? And then she's gonna come over, bring a napkin, she's gonna start wiping him down, and she's gonna start patting him down and everything. While I'm
Give
doing
me
that,
a sleight of hand check.
I was
Oh,
about to ask,
shit.
can I do a sleight of hand check to
Look,
kind
do I know you or do I know you?
Oh, boy.
and again, it think of like master of the house sort of
Absolutely.
situation.
Oh my
like-
God.
Absolutely.
All right, easy.
And that would be a 13 plus 2, so that would be 15.
Okay. As you're doing this, he's mad at you, Davenport, so he's not even looking, and he can't even realize when Ivara takes out the small envelope that was in his breast pocket, and you're easily able to slide it right back, and he just come on. I'm trying to have myself a good
sorry.
time.
Let me get you. All drinks are on the house on me tonight. Don't worry
Yeah.
about that. I'm so sorry. We're cutting Doc
You know,
off right
I
now. We just have way too much.
appreciate
Right.
I'm clearly.
Man in my position does not need to be embarrassed.
Well, honey, I ain't trying to embarrass you. Like I'm just
Wait,
trying to make
wait,
sure you have a good time here.
Wait, good friend. Man of your position. You just seem to be dressed the part tonight. Where are you coming from, friend?
I'm from none of your goddamn business is
Oh,
where I'm
come
from,
on.
all
Let's
right?
not be like that. Come on.
Now, how about you mosey on back to your little wherever you came from and let me appreciate the finer things that they have here for me to be accommodated with.
Let me tell you something. He's kind of leaving. He's going.
These are the drunks that I hate interacting with the most.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Come here. No,
Come here. I have a secret.
I was tell you something.
you just burp in his ear. Just run away.
That's like all they end
No,
up saying.
I'm gonna kind of like, hey man, if you came here to appreciate the finer things in life, that only happens a little bit later on in the evening. And let me tell you, I know some of the best girls in here, and I bet I can put in a word for you to get something good. But until then, why not
I was
start
doing
enjoying
quite
it out
well for
now?
myself until your stumbly ass came up here.
Ow.
Now, if you
Again.
don't mind, I'd like to work off of what I do well, which is talk to people. Now, if you could,
Why
I
don't
would
you
like to
talk
proceed
me?
with my business. You drunk fool.
Listen, I wasn't all bad. All your drinks are on the house now because of me, right?
All right. Well, I believe that our business is done, but you seem to want to continue it.
Here, I'll put it this way, friend. Here, come. Here. May I sit down? I sit down. You seem like...
Ivara is going to grab another drink. She's going to walk over. She's just going to flash him the most charming smile as she just kind of sits down right next to him. She crosses her legs and she just kind of leans in a little bit. She goes, I ain't seen you around here, darling. You must be new here. My name's Ivara. I run this joint. Is there anything I can do for you, sweetheart? I'd be happy to help.
Well, Well, I do appreciate the hospitality, that is for sure.
Oh, it's what I'm here
I'm,
for, honey.
well, I'm here on way of business. I'm just traveling through. I am particularly fond of culture, and I wanted to come eastward bound and see what this whole life was like in near the mountains, and hearing good things about the mining businesses. So, wanted to get a sense of the true culture of the world beyond the Talenta Plains and get away from all those folk that try to, civilize things. Let things be untamed is what I say. Let it all just hang out.
Oh, honey, let me tell you, if you want to learn culture, we got all different kinds of things in this tavern. If you want to, let me tell you, if anything you're looking for, I guarantee you'll find it here in this establishment, my dear.
No. That
But
was me saying that. That was not
you're
him.
here on work. What do you do for a job? So we can at least know how to accommodate you more, sweetheart. Maybe I can cut you a few deals here and there.
Well, have you heard the name Walton Candlepoint?
Walton Candlepoint. Haven't heard the name Walton Candlepoint.
You can roll deception if you'd like, because
Sure.
I'm sure you can say you have.
Can I also roll for history? I won't say anything, but
So deception, that would be a 15 plus 5, so that is a dirty 20.
You can absolutely say that you have heard that name before.
What was the name again? Sorry.
Walton Candlepoint, which is the perfect response as a player.
Sorry, what candle? What?
Walton
Candlepoint.
Candlepoint.
Walton Candlepoint. I've heard that name before. I can't quite remember at the top of my head, but I heard some of my girls talking about him here and there. You mind?
Well, that's because Candlepoint printing and wood manufacturing seems to be some of the best things going on and expanding their business eastward. I happen to be Cassius Candlepoint, the son of the founder and owner currently.
Oh, really now? So
Just
you
looking to see what businesses may be available to bring under the family of the Candlepoint companies. This lumberyard that you have in this town, looking mighty fine, could be something that we could expand ourselves into.
Well, we're always here to, if anything, the more people that come in here to work, the more work we get in here. So we are always happy to see new people coming into our town.
Well, I was just, but my curiosity happened to lie with that arcanic institution that you have here. It seems as though that there may be a possibility that our technology of tomorrow may become available sooner than we think if we're able to combine forces. But I wouldn't want to be just throwing the family money around. I need to know if this town is going to make it worth my while, which is why I was asking this wonderful clientele of yours how much they happen to know about the history of this particular faction of intelligent individuals.
Right. Okay, so you said he works in wood manufacturing, right?
Yeah, he's basically like a, heir to a lumber company.
Okay, so by chance, is he somehow involved in the cult that, because I remember you mentioning, and I'm reading my notes right now, that part of the cult, one of their biggest things was they were best known for their wood and their wood manufacturing.
So what you're speaking of is if you want to find out if he is involved in carwood distribution or perhaps manufacturing.
Yes.
Well, I guess you'd have to ask.
Okay, so Ibarra, she's gonna kind of she has kind of her own drink in her hand, and she's slowly just kind of moving her finger around the rim of her glass, and she's just staring into this gentleman's eyes, and she goes, "Well, I might be able to help you out there, but Just like you don't like throwing your family's money around, I don't like throwing around any sort of business deals that I can make sure the rest of the town can agree on. If you don't mind my asking, how exactly do you manufacture this wood?
Well, a gentleman never kisses and tells unless he finds out the right price for such a exchange of information.
Oh, darling, well then how many kisses would that take?
How much does it cost? And this conversation will also go on. Before any sort of...
Doc is just sitting there like...
Yeah, you're impressed.
Has Doc ever seen Ivara at work? That's the question.
I don't think so. It's mostly just
Not
like,
at all.
hi, it's me again, and then you're like, okay.
He's
go
a bit
to the back.
occupied by that time, I think.
Yeah, I'm busy
So-
at that point.
I will let you know what information you find out from your exchange in due time. Don't worry.
Ooh, okay.
It will be. You will take your answer off air.
Okay.
So, do I want to do this?
Sorry, I just read the private chat.
Okay. Yeah, y'all need Jesus.
Oh, Jesus would have seen what's going on. Just be like, oh, I'm fucking shit, I'm out.
I will ask you to do this though.
Uh-oh.
In the midst of your business, when all is said and done, and they are much more open with their secrets, of which you find out that yes, they are in fact trying to distribute Carnwood as far as the Lazar Principalities, the islands to the east of Kabara, where many the pirate faction are usually found, and purchasing of Carnwood would certainly help their ships. But the thing that also gets slipped out is that a lot of the residents of Connaught, the protectors of that the forest area, they were archers, and well, a lot of them served mainly for our nation. And, well, once they were done, they just kind of kept heading towards those mines, the more holds that the dwarves ended up taking the majority of, as it was their homeland. But a lot of people say that when the folk dig too deep into those mines, they never come out the same. And a lot of mining people we've heard, see, that's why I stick with the lumber business, because at least you know that it grows out of the ground. You can chop it right down. Ain't got to worry about finding nothing strange in no caves or with strange crystals or whatever they may be.
All right, so we kind of have like can you explain that to me like I'm 5?
So basically what he said is that what you get the gist of is that there is more and more suspicious activity with people that have gone into the mining business post-war. And the more people seem to be digging, the more cases of basically insanity are returning. So it's not only it's apparent, it's becoming apparent to you that you might not be the only place that's getting affected by this kind of thing.
Okay.
Of course, now he's trying to be like, what can I do to get you away from all this? A speech you've heard so many times before. Because all the gentlemen always think, well, she really liked me.
Honey, that's what I get paid for.
It's real. I tell you, it's real. And you send him along his way with promises of seeing him in the future sometime, of course.
Oh, darling, I'm gonna make sure that man's in my back pocket.
Absolutely. So a successful plan.
Nice job, Ivara.
And
yeah.
Why is your hand sticky? What the fuck?
Ivara,
First try.
You can roll a D100 to see how much you made tonight.
Can I roll a D100 to see how much I lost?
No.
Your drinks were on the house tonight.
Yeah, this time you didn't lose anything. You didn't gain, but you didn't lose.
Excellent. Net 0. That's better than losing.
That would be a 5-0.
Okay. Good old solid 50 gold pieces of cut for you at that night. Me and Matt realized that copper, $1. Silver, $10. Once you get to gold, you're talking hundreds. So, there you go. As I'm going to now go backwards.
Man, you guys freaking rich, y'all. I freaking love this.
So we're going to go back to Delilah for this moment. Delilah, now I need a reminder of what exactly we left off at, because that whole thing was a blur and a half. That experience.
Delilah was doing her rounds and trying to keep herself distracted.
Yes, gotcha. Okay. What, now that you've kind of gotten your head straight, any particular place you'd like to be looking at this time of night?
She's going to go back to the mines to see if it's still empty.
Okay. Are you going in quietly, or are you just approaching?
Oh, no, I'm going quietly.
Okay, give me a stealth check. Sorry, one more time?
I was at 13.
13. You believe yourself to be as quiet as possible in an area that seems almost abandoned. However, the gates are locked on all 4 sides. Yet there are lights on in the camp, ever bright lanterns. Usually they're not on if there's no activity. And there hasn't been activity for several days, in fact. Not since when you and Silas came out of there, especially out of respect for what has been going on with the sheriff. As you're approaching to kind of look closer at the gate, what is your passive perception? Sorry, one more time?
15.
15, okay. You do not hear steps quietly just approaching you, but not sneaking, just slowly walking. So you hear a figure clear their throat. Miss Armstrong, why are you obsessed with me? As you see Lady Eleanor Vitae.
Oh boy. Delilah will just turn around, blank look on her face. If you weren't doing some shady business, you wouldn't be on my radar.
You keep saying these words. You keep saying things that are cases of defamation in other places, things that would be seen as slander, things that I would take offense to were I not a bit more civilized than most of the folk here. However, you have been persistent in your execution of this false conspiracy that you seem to have floating around in your head, of which I don't know the details, nor do I care to know, but word travels that you are poking around in businesses that do not concern you. Last I checked,
You are a bounty hunter. You are not a miner. You are not an investor in my business. So I must ask you again, why are you here?
As you said, I'm bounty hunter. I've got a slightly different form of bounty. Just doing my job, Miss Vitae.
Do you think you're special because you came back from whatever it is that took you down? You carry a large chip on your shoulder, Miss Armstrong. It's visible from the highest point of the mountains. And yet you walk around this town thinking that you have everything understood, that you know better than most individuals here. Tell me, educate me, what is it about you that makes you so different?
Good question to ask, Miss Vitae. And I don't think it's around here. In fact, I think most are better than me. I've learned a lot, I've lived time. So I have experience on my side. However, the only thing special about me is that for some forsaken reasons, something saw fit me back. That was not my choice. I'm simply here doing a job.
Well, we do not all have the luxury of being able to decide where we are in life sometimes, that of which I can relate to. But what I would mind is if you would please allow me to just have my business, to allow me to employ my people, and let me figure out what the hell is going on here on my own, so that I don't hear reports of missing equipment from trains, or perhaps my employees speaking about being found in the middle of an abandoned site by two individuals who claim to be neighborhood watchers, but instead trespassing onto property.
Miss Vitae, as soon as the issues in your mind became issues in multiple places that I've gotten questions and inquiries about by multiple of my sources, it no longer became just your business. As soon as people became a factor of potential harm, it's no longer just your business. So while I recognize you would like to do this on your own, I am willing to work with you. But if you keep refusing my services in legal manners, I'm afraid my way of doing things is just going to have to be my way of doing things.
You are a stubborn person, Miss Armstrong.
So what makes me good at what I do? I'm willing to work with you. I am, truly. But you gotta be willing to work with me.
Reluctantly, but I will do so for the sake of this town, which, contrary to many people's beliefs here, I do in fact care about.
I'd like to believe that.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I am going to go back to my home and hope that tomorrow will be at least the most peaceful day, in spite of the fact that we are going to be mourning a loved member of this town. I hope to see you there, but I do not wish to speak with you anymore unless it is about matters that concern all of us. Is that understood?
Quite. But you will be hearing from me.
Good evening to you then, Miss Armstrong. And she walks away.
As she walks away...
Oops, sorry, go ahead.
I'm gonna have bits follow her.
Okay. It starts to fly up, but feels no reason to move any forward and comes right back to you. And it starts looking around this entire area. But eventually, your little aviary assistant calms down. The next day, at the conclusion of the funeral, the town has gathered quietly, somberly, and it's at this point that you all kind of get a sense that, wow, Sheriff Brass truly did make a difference in this town. The stories that are told, the impact that was left behind, even those who seem like common enemies to each other, businesses or family factions or whatever it may be, none of that, all of that pretense is dropped. None of that matters, for today at least. The day quietly goes on. You all share a moment to acknowledge and keep this ruse up for the most part. Knowing better, though, as Clinton Hiltwick approaches you all. My apologies for the abruptness of this matter, but someone would like to speak with all of you. May we proceed for a private conversation with that individual?
Absolutely, as soon as possible. Yes, please.
Go ahead, lead the way.
He takes you back to the institution, where in a rocking chair, wearing a very nicely sewn together serape
Cute.
with the leather hide hat you have always seen, Copper Brass. Ah, well. Means you all died for sore eyes.
Oh,
We're just happy to see you back on your feet.
well,
It's very difficult to give a
So to
eulogy
speak.
for
at least
someone
in a,
who's not
at least in a
dead.
rocking chair, old friend.
He talks.
My God, Edgar. It's just. Oh my! I'm so sorry. He's.
Edgar, you have seen him talk for
I've been informed about what's been going on. For me, it just feels like about half a day, but I know it's been a couple.
what happened
Apparently,
to
the
you.
proceedings were really good. Bunch of nice speeches, and everybody had a good meal and shared stories. Well, here's my side of the story. Came in, just checking around, usual walk around town. Ain't heard nothing. Nobody been causing a ruckus. Was waiting on y'all to find out what you found out in the wherever you found things out. Take a seat. Go to reminisce about some old times. Then I heard this whack. And usually now I've been hit in the back of the head before. And since I ain't one of them flesh and blood creatures, I ain't gonna get knocked unconscious, as it were. But this thing felt like some sort of surge that shut me down. And I ain't felt that bad since I took one of them hits in the war. In fact, I remember exactly where I was the last time I felt something like that.
Do you know who did that to you last time, darling?
We all felt it, because it was the day of mourning.
Oh. The bright light? I was up in the sky that
Remember when I told y'all that that abandoned town? Trying to find something out about if it had any connection to the mines and the fact that people seem to be going crazy.
Yeah.
I think somebody figured out that maybe we're digging too deep. Somebody wanted to take me out.
They almost did.
So are you saying, darling, that there's something hiding in that mine that they don't want us finding?
And whoever that may be, well, they came for me first.
So are you
I
saying
think-
that they're probably going to go after the rest of us?
That's what I'm thinking.
Sheriff,
But sorry there, Miss Armstrong.
I would like to make you aware of something recently.
Very well.
Miss Vitae has been made aware in some form of at least my digging around and confronted me about it.
Well, guess we start making a list then and put her name first.
Brother Mason should also be on that list.
Sister Mira, upon hearing that, how do you react?
I should be surprised, but Delilah has been voicing her doubts for almost anyone and everyone for the past couple of days who might be remotely suspect. My interactions cannot speak for all, especially as we did see him speaking to Lady Vito not long ago, and she does not appreciate those poking into her head.
May I ask what kind of evidence you have to put him on a list? I hate to.
I'll just say right now, enough.
If you want me to give you actual evidence I have gathered, he came from Carnith and Sharn. And we've gotten interesting connections of this here case connecting to those places. Not to mention a phrase he said that is connected very heavily to House Vol, which is worrying enough for me.
I just hate to make this whole town our enemy. You know?
Mr. Hillwick, if I may have a moment with my associates here. He goes, oh, yes, of course. Of course, sir. He steps out, closes the door, empty room.
Edgar's just gonna walk up and like clamp down it in front.
I need y'all to put Mr. Hillwick on that list as well. I believe we are in a situation where we cannot afford to trust anyone of importance in this town.
I would also like to point out when Marshall came to find us after he found you, he said he heard a loud sound similar to a gunshot, but not quite, kind of muffled, and what he supposes is you falling over it. When he came over, he saw someone coming out the back. Now, there is no back entrance to your office or the jail. So
Nope.
that caught me as a little suspicious.
Well, people can do all sorts of weird tricks. Maybe even go in and out of walls. I've seen all sorts of types. Hell, maybe even you might learn that one day, Amara. I see that book you carry around. It got that spooky duty.
Can I
gotta-
finally Arcana check the book now that it's been pointed out in front of Silas?
Oh, I think everybody is aware that, especially after the last showdown, you all know that Avara's magic comes from that book. So,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's never been pointed out in those words. You know, like
Well,
any like
yeah.
Holiday has a book, but it's a spell book. It's just a thing.
that's true.
Not like I see that spell book or that book you got there.
That
Sheriff,
may be on your own time because I have one last request. We got to get out of town for the moment. And we got to look into that abandoned area that I was telling y'all about.
How far out of town are you looking to get?
I have a strong suspicion that we might find one more piece to this puzzle there. If that's the case, maybe you'll figure out who done and try and take me out and who might be gunning for y'all. We gotta do it quickly. We gotta do it quietly. And I got Twang loaded and ready to go with a caravan and, by special request. And he shimmers the cloth that's around him, and you see that now the appearance of Sheriff Brass has taken on a human form.
Ooh.
It got me some fancy glamour weave here.
Very
It's got
nice.
a bit of that
Very nice.
able to disguise myself magic to it. I admit I feel like a bit handsomer. And he does have like a bit of a like Clint Eastwood look to him in this time because what else would he look
Smash.
Smash.
Smash. Sheriff,
Smash. Don't know.
Scared,
don't know-
scared smash, but smash.
Sheriff,
human form of Copper Brass is basically Clint Eastwood. So yeah,
Smash.
Taylor, I get it.
Sheriff, before we head out, don't you think it's going to look mighty suspicious if the entire neighborhood watch just gets up and leaves? Doesn't tell, let's say Malcolm, doesn't tell nobody, we just get up and leave?
Oh, don't worry, because he flips out a badge with the name of Marshall Edwards, House Deneth. Don't worry, you're on loan.
Huh. You
And he winks.
you really had this whole thing all thought out, huh? All right.
Yeah, well, you know,
You
I had to pull a
underestimate-
couple favors.
You underestimate the influence and power that Sheriff Copper has.
That
That's
I
right,
did.
y'all.
That I did. I did underestimate that.
Edgar's just gonna sit there and like nod, looking for bad people, and he's gonna cast detect evil and
These
good.
are
just
bad
to make sure.
people. Announcing.
All right. And ride you do as you get to this abandoned-looking village eventually.
Question: Is the doc coming with us? Or sorry, is the sheriff coming with us?
Sheriff is. He's leading the pack.
Go, Sheriff.
Okay,
go.
and are we trying to get out of there without anybody seeing him?
I wouldn't even question it because the rest of the town is occupied, and Twang has got things covered apparently.
Oh God.
And it seems that all bases have been covered, but he's so confident to just get out of there, but especially with all of you, that you've seen like he's got to be onto something if that's the case. At
Just
this point,
just to be safe, can I cast invisibility on him so no one can see him?
So it's just a horse.
It's just-
Oh,
Sure.
yeah, not suspicious at all.
despite the fact that he has disguised himself in glamour weave to look like
That's what I
a
was
human
thinking.
being,
oh, he's disguised himself to look like
Yeah.
a human being. Okay, never mind. I'll save that shit
Just a
for
I was
later.
horse
gonna
without a
say,
cowboy.
I get the extra measure, but that might be a bit excessive.
Yeah,
I'm trying to be careful, okay? The man just almost died, alright?
that's fair. All right, and we ride. Ooh.
Here is where you will
Whoa.
arrive. The town is literally a ghost town.
abandoned, quiet, and disturbing. You are right in the center looking in, and what's odd about this town is you feel like it kind of mirrors your own in a way. A chapel, local businesses, a few setups for, mining communities. I need everyone to give me a perception check.
Why has my perception been so shit?
25.
Consistently.
Oh wait, no, not 25. Sorry, 23.
I'm just gonna put it
30,
in chat,
20.
Michael.
So for our high rollers above the 19, as you're looking around, the entire town goes quiet. Except for some rumbling at your feet.
Oh,
Oh,
And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 giant scorpions come out of the ground,
y'all feel
facing,
that?
Well, we're gonna need to be
surrounding
good
you.
for this one.
But that's not the part that disturbs you,
What? What?
because their rattling shell that surrounds them gets drowned out by a pair of wings as emerging from just on the other side of the cliff, landing right on top of the chapel, looking down at all of you, a young red wormling.
Nope.
Oh, we're gonna
And that
need
is where we
big-
are going to conclude
one.
tonight's episode.
Oh my god!
Oh my god, no.
Join
You
us
guys-
next week
You
when
guys.
we roll initiative for a very large battle.
Oh my god.
You
Oh
think?
my
Ladies and
God.
gentlemen,
At third
this has
level?
been Frontiers of Eberron. I have been your game master, Michael St. Gregory. Thank you to Taylor, KJ, Isaac, Matt, Dia, and Irina for this fantastic game. We will see you next time when we ride on into that.
Everyone roll backup
glorious
characters now.
sunset.
Oh god.
Yep.
This
Have
is
a
so
wonderful
scary.
night, everybody. Remember, this Wednesday, another episode of The Dimensional Dial of Dr. Diago, hosted by our very own Matt. Have a wonderful night, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Good night,